So I have been getting a ton of questions about lithographs in Throne and Liberty, so I figured I'd make a guide over them. So let's get right into it. Lithographs are used to craft weapons. As you can see, you need a lithograph to craft these green weapons. These purple weapons are slightly different, these two, because they come from a dungeon. But for example, the Greatsword of the Banshee and the Heroic Broadsword of the Resistance, you need their lithographs to craft the weapons. Lithographs are also used to sell items that you have on the auction house. So say I wanted to sell this Tome Approximate Remedy, you could turn it into a lithograph and then sell it on the auction house, because if you look down here, you can't sell the direct weapon, you can only sell lithographs. So I'll show you on the auction house. If we go here, as you can see, there are some full-on weapons on the auction house, but I believe those are mainly just from guild bosses and world bosses. So if you come down here to miscellaneous, this is actually where the lithographs will be. And down here is where you can buy lithographs of the gear that you might want to craft for your build. Personally, I haven't bought any of these lithographs. They're pretty insanely expensive. That's over $100 just for an item that allows you to craft something in a video game. So that's honestly sort of nuts, but that's just how it works sometimes. And for example, like Plate of the Field General, you can just get that from a dungeon. So again, it's nuts how much some of these are worth, but again, some of them aren't too bad, like 512. But anyways, this is where you can buy lithographs. Now you may be asking, how do you craft the gear once you have the lithograph? You just come over to the respected, weapon or gear crafter, and then you go to what you want to craft, and you'll need 10 of the precious of whatever type. You can sometimes switch them out. I guess you can't for these weapons, but you need 10 of those. You need 10 precious magic powder, and you need 12 of the polished crystal. The magic powder you can just get by dissolving your materials, and you can also craft more of it. I don't actually remember exactly which one of these guys allows you to make more of it, but I do know that you can turn your blue powder into you can craft purple magic powder. So for example, I have 1200, so I could craft 100 magic powder really, really easily. So again, really easy to do. The way you get a bunch of magic powder is just by dissolving gear, and make sure that you dissolve gear with traits on it, because gear that has traits on it, you get 25 extra magic powder for each trait that is on a piece of gear. So for example, I have 2 of these Invoker pants. You don't want to dissolve them separately. You want to trait one into the other one and then dissolve that one item, as you will get extra magic powder for that. So anyways, we were talking about lithographs. So how do you make a lithograph of an item if you want to sell that lithograph on the auction house? Say you came to the auction house and you were looking at your lithographs, or you got a drop. You go to the auction house and you just take a look, and you search up whatever weapon or whatever you got, and you figure out how much its lithograph is worth. And if it is worth over about 2,000, or at least it used to be 2,000, then it'd usually be worth it. Most of them have dropped in price a lot, but I'll show you why that 2,000 is what the original number you were going for. If we come down to weapon materials and scroll all the way down, this is for weapons specifically. There's a precious blank lithograph for this is for purple weapons, and you need 20 precious parchment, 50 enchanted ink, 20 mana steel, or you can switch it to mistwood, 10 of the polished crystal, and 10 precious rubrics. Now you can get precious rubrics either from dungeons. I have 0 out of 10, and that's because personally I've been selling all of mine on the auction house, because over time they tend to trend downwards in their price. So we can actually search for them on the auction house. And as you can see, this is why I was saying you need about 2,000 to make it worth it. In this case, they're down to 1,000. So, anything over 1,000, you're making profit, but you're still wasting your, magic powder and your mana steel, your precious mana steel on crafting the thing. So 10 of these would be, about 1,000 for 10 precious rubrics. So anyways, you craft one of these precious blank lithographs, and then you come into your inventory, go to your wand or whatever you got that you would want to turn into a lithograph, hit lithograph, and then you have, theoretically, you would have crafted one of these, and then you can lithograph it for 500,000 solent, which isn't a lot of solent. So then you take that, and then you can go onto the auction house and sell that lithograph for whatever seems to be a good price for it. So anyways, moving on from there, I do want to touch on lithographs just for other pieces of gear, just because someone may be confused and only go to the weapons crafter. Don't do that. You do need to make the correct lithograph. So the armor crafting has a different lithograph than the weapon one. So this is an armor lithograph, and the other one had a weapon lithograph. They do have rare blank lithographs. However, you can't sell these on the market because rare enchanted ink doesn't seem to exist yet. If it does, please let me know, but I haven't talked to anyone who's been able to find rare enchanted ink, so you can't actually make these to sell blue items on the auction house. So just keep that in mind. It's purple items only for now, at least. And then finally, coming over to our accessories, there is also a separate lithograph for these, I believe. Yeah, so you need a precious blank lithograph for accessories that is separate from the other ones. So something to mention is, when you're starting out in the game, you want to be crafting your green, like a full set of green gear, just so that you are doing well. And if you run out of green lithographs, it's really easy to get more. You just come over to your contract coin merchant and you can buy as many as you want for weapons, accessories, and armor. And this isn't just used early game, so stick around if you are a veteran. These can also be used for your lithograph book. So that's the perfect transition into the lithograph book. I am going to talk about this too, just because it is on the subject of lithographs. So this allows you to get all sorts of items for turning in your items. You just add it in, you lose the item, and then you can get the rewards once you add all of the items. It's a really, really good book for getting items that can be hard to find in the world. So I'm just going to go through each one and start at the common items. There's not much in here that is like none of these are worth a lot, but all these items are really easy to get. And you can also buy some of these items just from the equipment merchant. Like every single one of these items in the equipment merchant was used like multiple times for different lithographs, if I remember correctly. So you can buy those as many as you need to fill out the common lithographs. And as you can see, I didn't really do too much in here. I did get a fair number of lithographs early on, but in the green ones, this is where some of the rewards can actually get pretty good. This is how you can get the Blade of Resistance, which is considered like a really good starting sword and shield. This is the one that a lot of people will be running max traded. So just because it has max health, that's just a really good stat to have on it. And then moving down from there, the Trousers of Resistance aren't actually too bad if you're going for melee evasion, but they're not the best in slot for sure. And then moving down from here, a fair number of these can either be used in a build, or you can get it, and if you get lucky with a good trait, you can then sell it on the market. Like some of the traits on this bangle can sell for like 100 lucent a piece. So you can go through here and craft all of your different blue items that you would want. That's a pretty good mass depending on your build. And just go through here, see what you think might sell for a lot. I got this item, this helmet from this, just because it's really hard to get. And then moving on to our blue items, this is where the rewards get really good. You can get your polished crystals from it. You can get purple materials if you're struggling to find those in the world. It can definitely be useful for getting those. You can get different types of blue gear. I know that this mantle is used in some builds, and it's also, you can get it from the Shadow Crypt, so most people should already have that. But moving down here, there are a lot of pieces of gear that you can craft here that different classes use. Like the Collar of Decimation is a really amazing necklace with the +4 strength and the melee evasion. Like that would be definitely better than what I have now for my build. So definitely really, really good. And then the Flamerot bindings are also a really good belt with that max health, the melee endurance, and collisions resistance. So I definitely will probably be crafting those eventually. And if you're wondering how to figure out where to get these, you can just click on them and they show you how you can get them. So moving on to our purples, there's not much to say here. I think generally early on it's probably better to just sell the purples like on the auction house with their traits or whatever if it's worth anything, but you can get a bunch of trait unlock stones, which will be very important later on when you're trying to fully trade out your purple gear. So definitely just keep this in mind. This is one of the best ways of getting trait unlock stones, is turning in your purples into the lithograph book. So that should be pretty much everything for the lithograph book and lithographs in general. If I'm missing anything, feel free to let me know in the comments below, but I think that was pretty comprehensive. So anyways, I hope y'all found this helpful. Thank you so much for all the support I've been getting on all of my videos. It really means the world to me. I've gotten so many nice comments, and like it really makes my day, guys. Like seriously. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Have fun in Throne and Liberty, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.